Hey, pod people, how we doing out there? And happy Friday. And this is Freckles. It's my daughter's crested gecko. Figured we'd put her in the video today. Hopefully she doesn't poop on me like Dude does, her little friend. We'll see what happens. Okay. So, this week's show, I would like to bring it back a little bit to isopods. We haven't talked much with isopods in a while. So, I want to talk to you guys about what I do for bioactive when it comes to isopods and whatnot in an enclosure, like, say, for instance, a dart frog enclosure or a crested gecko enclosure. So, what I normally start out with is obviously springtails. That's going to help out with mold issues that might be happening in the beginning when things are kind of going through their cycle in the enclosure. So that'll help out a little bit by getting the population going of those in there. And I use the tropical variety mostly because they work out and the biggest assortment of styles of enclosure. Like they can do okay in a drier situation as long as they have some moisture to retreat to. Or they can do with a nice, super moist 80 to 100% humidity dart frog enclosure. So that's what I found that works out better for me. The temperate ones just didn't work out for me as well. So that's the ones that I work with. And yeah, so from there, I usually jump into a dwarf isopod of some sort that stays down in the soil, aerates the soil, and helps out with detritus and poo-poos and all that business. You know what they're eating, folks. So that's what I usually do. My go-to personally for me is dwarf purples. They're a little bit smaller, more inconspicuous, especially in dart frog enclosures. When they do come out a little bit, it might become a nice little snack for the frogs. The dwarf whites I do use occasionally in some stuff, but and they're great too. For some reason, I just like the dwarf purples more. They seem to populate pretty well, just like the dwarf whites. And I don't know, it's just my jam, I guess. But I'm kind of gross with it when it comes to the dart frog enclosures. Okay, reel it back a little bit. So the next thing in is what I call a topper isopod, which is going to be something that's a little bit larger, that's going to hang out more so in the leaf litter and hide around amongst the rubble of the place. And they're going to come out and they're going to eat the stuff first. They're going to get to the food, the poo-poos, the insect carcasses, so on and so forth. They're going to get to that stuff first, and then will come boiling up out of the soil the dwarf species, dwarf whites, dwarf purples, Vendazella parvis, stuff like that. So those guys are going to be the first to the scene. So like I say, I'm kind of disgusting with it. And by that I mean ridiculous in the fact that in my dart frog enclosures, I like to use high-end Cubera species. They do really well and the high humidity, it seems like, and I just like watching them kind of react in a natural environment. So that's what I like to do. Plus, it's kind of cool because, if I run short on something, in a bin, I can always pull some out of one of those dart frog enclosures and get, a culture going again, if need be. Haven't had to yet, but the option is there. And I got a crested gecko crawling on my neck. Anyways, back to the subject at hand. So, things I like to use are like pack chongs, rubber duckies. I just put some Shiro Utsuri in the last large build that we just did. And those are Anesadillo, technically, not a Cuberis. But those are the types of things that I like to do. Now, as far as snakes goes, I usually do something like a Skeeber species or a Lavis species, maybe even the giant canyon, the Dilaudidus or whatever, the Porcellio dilaudidus. I'm horrible, folks, when it comes to pronunciation of words. I do my best, like we all do. But Those are the types of things I use in like lizard or snake enclosures in order to take care of larger loads. They get to the stuff fast. And by all means, folks, larger snakes, larger lizards, don't completely rely on your cleanup crew to take care of those gigantic dumps because they're not going to do it. You still got to spot clean and clean up those huge dookies. However, whatever's left behind, you know, if there's a little schmutz left behind, those isopods are going to help clean that up. But yeah, so that's what I do when it comes to bioactive, and that's the advice I give to other people. I hope you found this informative. Make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. I'd like to thank our Patreon supporters, like always. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much. I think we'll catch you next time, folks. If you have any comments, please in the comment section below. And did I miss anything? Nope. All right, Patreon supporters, take us out. See you next week, folks.